Like today's topic is going to be about like opportunities, pipelines, and things related to that section. My name's Richard Rosenthal. I'm head of training here, and I also head up the Automate 365. My team members are on here as well. We have Alexandra and we have Ileana. They're also available to help you out. So some of you may have already had emails with them or meet trainings with them. So we're here to help you out with whatever you need. So inside of Automate, opportunities or pipelines, it's a little bit different than the opportunities and pipelines in NowCerts. Same concept, same idea, but the difference being is inside of NowCerts, we have the new pipelines over here. So if you're using these, they do have drag and drop capability now. We're still working on some things with this, but really there's no automation with these. So if you're using these, pretty much you're there's not going to be really, you probably could set up with Zapier if you wanted to use it. But so if you're using it inside of Automate, then I wouldn't recommend using these over here. Just it's really one or the other. So the first step here is in the setup. When I created the basically the snapshot of what you guys get, it's not set in stone. So you could change anything you want in the pipelines. You can add different stages. You can call them different different opportunities to begin with. So to change that, you can come over here into settings. And right over here where it says pipelines. And I think there was even another place up at the top too. I'll go back to that other screen. So basically you can, add more if you want, so create a new one, or you could just, literally come into one that's existing and just click on this little pencil thing. And then you could, move around the order of what you want, or you could just add another stage. And this right here, like the visible and funnel chart, visible and pie chart. So that's going to be like on the main dashboard page if you don't want it to be visible on that. So like, for example, this one's new business. I wanted that one visible on the funnel chart and the pie chart. But like, for example, like the certificates, claims, endorsements, those were kind of like service oriented and like, premium audit. So those, this one, I guess it was visible, but like in my agency, I don't have that visible on the main dashboard. So what that means over here, so if you come over to the dashboard, and so basically whatever you have in here, it just wouldn't be displayed over there. So if you have things that are you don't necessarily want to be displayed over here, and you can change to new business or whatever, so you just wouldn't see the actual funnel or the pie chart over there. Going back to the opportunities over here, like I said, I think if you click on, same. So this takes you to that same screen that in the settings. So either you click on settings or you just click on the pipelines over there. If you change something in these pipelines, for example, like in renewal and in the new business ones, that could impact automations that are set up. So like, for example, let's just take a look at the new business one. So I have some things that are set up to go to application submitted, and some things, for different, stages in that. So if you actually do change something along those lines, whether it's a name of something or you add something inside the automation, that could impact something over here. So for example, let's find something that was like something along the lines of like new business ones. So in the automation, wherever it says create opportunity, So in the create opportunity, if you change something in the pipeline, then it needs to be adjusted over here. So in this particular case, if I got rid of the name application submitted, then this particular workflow wouldn't work right. So whatever, you can change it in here, just update the information here. But just keep that in mind if you do change that. Another thing to keep in mind is this thing about duplicate opportunities. So for example, let's say they have a home and an auto. If you don't allow a duplicate opportunity in the workflow, then it won't allow you to have two of them in the same opportunity. Also, if you don't want duplicates, so let's say, for example, in the agency, if you have it set up for, not to allow a duplicate, you have to make sure in the workflow you're not allowing a duplicate also. So this is separate from whatever setup in the setting. So this is for this specific opportunity over here that would allow a duplicate in there. What you can also do is you can also update an opportunity. So let's say I have something in a particular opportunity to begin with. So let's say, for example, like new business, and we send information from NowCerts that it's now in insured. So in that case, I want to take the new business opportunity and then I want to update the information. So you can use the update function. So basically what it's doing is it's not going to create another opportunity. It's going to basically say, if it's looking for something that's in the new business pipeline already, and it's going to move the category. So you can use the update opportunity to move it from stage to stage. So let's say, it was in application submitted and we want to put it into proposal sent or whatever it is. So we can use this. So it's going to find, whatever the contact, whatever was used for the trigger for, that stage. Maybe the trigger was they responded to an email, or, they, sent something else. So you can have, anything along those lines to move it to a different stage. And then in this case, it's going to see if an opportunity exists for that particular contact. And then in this case, it's going to keep it in the same pipeline, just move it to a different stage. And then, whatever, and then in this case, it moves it to a different status. So like when you're creating the opportunity, it's going to keep it in the open status. So in this case, it was a 1 opportunity. So now it's going to put it into the 1 category. And then when you look at that in that insured, it'll now have a green 1 opportunity for that.
Richard, excuse me, just for a moment. There is a question from Elizabeth. Why would you want duplicates?
What's that? Why would I want to duplicate?
Why would you want duplicates? Also, she had a duplicate and wanted to delete one of them, but she tried to delete and it deleted both. How do you avoid that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So like I said, the reason why you'd want a duplicate would be a situation where, is if it was, they had 2 lines of businesses. As far as the deleting both, I don't really have an answer to that question. I have noticed that happen in the past. But to avoid that, just don't allow the duplicate to like I said, there's 2 places, and I think I know what she's talking about. And I think I had looked into that on 2 ends. So if it's not allowed here, this only applies, this doesn't apply to the workflow. I think in that particular case, the one that she's talking about is at the workflow level, at the automation level, there was a duplicate allowed for that opportunity. As far as why it would delete both of them, the only thing I can think of is because it's picking up the same information on both opportunities. So it wouldn't know which one to delete. So I could probably find out a better answer for that, you know, from high level. You know, they would be the better ones to ask that question. Yeah, no, yeah, it came from the API. I see that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll chat about that later. I just happen to see inside the inside that specific workflow that it triggered off of, and there was it was duplicates were allowed at that specific opportunity. So yeah, but we could discuss that later, and I guess I could see if I could find out a better answer for that. Yeah, so going back to the opportunities and the workflows. Something I was going to mention here. So one thing, as far as display. So I've mentioned this to some of you. So one thing in display. So if you don't have company name checked in here, then it gets to be a little hard to know which one is which. So this name at the top here is just the name of the opportunity. So if I want to change this, inside the workflow itself, you could, like kind of hard code that. So let's say, for example, I have, something that is for an automobile submission. So I can say, and I'll show you that in a second in the automation, you could, every time an automobile submission is submitted, then it'll always call it that. So when you're looking at the opportunities themselves, if you click on this, this will take you right to that specific contact. Right now, we can't see who it is. So I always recommend, make sure you have company name checked, because that'll give you, so the company name we're putting in there from, so inside the contact screen over here. So company name is going to be the insured name. So when NowCerts sends over the information, the company name is going to actually be the insured name. So that's this inside the general info, that's called the business name. So that's technically the named insured name. So in the case of like a commercial account, like an LLC, that's going to be that. If it's an individual, Bob Smith, it's going to be Smith, comma Bob. So just the way it is in NowCerts. So that's, they're going to populate that field. If you start a prospect in Automate and it doesn't have a business name, you can link that to a prospect in NowCerts, or you could just import it as a prospect in NowCerts. So any number of ways. So I guess it depends on where you're starting your process at. So if you are using some type of like web form or something like that. So if you're going to NowCerts first, the web form will automatically create the prospect in here. And if you're using, like some of the forms that I have in here, like under surveys, I have workflows that will push this back to NowCerts. So for example, let's say like, commercial quote or like the personal auto or anything like that. If you use one of these, just make sure we've set that up for you. This is a training for a different day, but just make sure we have that, set up for your agency. So for example, inside here, whether, it's commercial or commercial auto, this webhook will take all that information basically and push that into NowCerts. So that, like I said, will populate that company name, that we're talking about there. So like in this case, what I was talking about before about that opportunity name. So like, for example, this says commercial auto. So I have this say, property liability. I can just say commercial auto. And then anytime that's now created from that form, it'll automatically populate the opportunity as a commercial auto. So you can do opportunities basically, from the workflow, or you can do them, manually from the contact screen. So basically, inside, I gotta go back and save that. So basically inside the contact screen itself. So if I wanted to if I wanted to add him to an opportunity, so you could just manually add an opportunity. It's always recommended that, you know, you might want to do other things with that. So rather than just, you know, manually adding an opportunity or manually deleting an opportunity, you know, any of those types of functions, is to really do it from a workflow. So, you know, the workflows basically serve, you know, multiple functions. So it's going to send emails, you know, it's going to send other tasks or notes or things like that. And, you know, they have opportunities attached to it. So in the case of, you know, like a new business quote, you know, if we don't have one set up there the way you want it, we can, you know, create, you know, one, you know, for you to do that. So when you click on add, you know, add it to a workflow this way, it'll automatically create that opportunity and, you know, whatever other things you want with it. So that's why I don't recommend necessarily just adding, you know, manual opportunities or deleting manual opportunities, because there might be other functions that are associated with it. So for example, if you know, we had, maybe it was sending a follow-up email, or let's say you had something like a new business opportunity and you wanted to just remove the opportunity, that may not prevent the other things from happening. So, you know, there's usually, if there's an opportunity in something, there's some workflow associated with it. So it's more important to make sure that you remove it from the workflow if you're trying to stop it, you know, an opportunity from happening. Also going back, like in the detail of the opportunities. So like in this case, I don't think yeah, so this particular assigned agent, you know, just has the initials over here. So if you want, you know, a little bit more descriptive information, you can add a picture. You know, that makes it a little bit easier to see who it's assigned to. It'll also display all the tags associated with that contact. Right now, currently, the tags that display on here are only contact tags. They don't have tags that are associated with the opportunity. So if you put a tag on there, it's not only going to be for the opportunity, but it'll be for the actual contact tag as well. And then, so we can, you know, display information like notes, and we can display task information. And so basically, when you hover over this, it'll display the, you know, if there's a note associated with, like this one has a note associated with it. So you can just, you know, hover over it and it'll show you whatever notes are on there. You can display that information over there. So before, when I was saying before with, if you click on this part right here, this takes you right to the contact itself. If I click on this part over here, this opens up the opportunity itself. So this, I can edit information on the opportunity. So here's the contact name. If I wanted to, you know, change the name of the opportunity, you know, from what was created originally, I could change it right over here. And then you could, you know, change without, if you didn't, you know, drag and drop it or whatever, you can, you know, update the pipeline information over here. And then, you know, what the value, so you can manually edit anything, you know, right over here. And this is another thing, you know, too, I get some questions about. So sometimes, you know, there's questions like, you know, someone will say like, you know, this one was, why are we getting this, this opportunity displaying or something like that. So in this particular case, it was created by a workflow. So if you look down here where it says created by workflow, if you click on that, that should take you to the specific workflow that it was created by. So in this particular case, it was created by this workflow. And then you can, you know, dig deeper into like the history or something like that. There's also a really nice feature that that was added to the system. So inside the settings, you know, over here, there's this little thing called Audit Logs. So anything that is done by like from the system, like API. So if we're sending it from NowCerts, isn't going to show up there. But what will show up here is things that are done manually. So if you click on this little audit logs, so we can look at different things that were done in the system. So like here, so you go to the module over here, and we can look at changes that were made to contacts, changes that were made to opportunities, and notes. I don't believe you could edit notes right now. I actually, I think, have that hit the editing function of notes hidden, but it's something that High Level did actually add to the software. So this allows you to see what was done, and this is very useful because there's been, I've had a couple emails from a couple different agencies where why this was done or why something else was done, and I could see right here. Okay, so who did it? So this was done by a user, and so the action was this opportunity was updated, and then it'll say, okay, what the change was. So if you click on the change, it'll tell you basically what was done. Obviously, in this situation, there isn't much detail, but basically, there was some updated information on the stage ID. So sometimes it'll give you a little bit more description than other other situations. It may say, like, there was one I had the other day where the phone number was changed, and so when I went in over here, it said before it was null, and then there was a value that was added. So it wasn't something that did automatically happen. It happened because somebody actually went in there, and I can say, well, this person went in there and did it. So it's not about getting someone in trouble, but at the same time, it's trying to find out why something may have happened in the system. But what's really neat about it is they have that available for the opportunity. So you can see that something was updated or something was changed or something like that. And so these are basically like changed the stages. And that kind of gets like into the kind of like the next topic over there. So inside of automation, we can automate things based on something going from stage to stage. Excuse me for a second here. Okay, so we so inside of a workflow here, let me find one that almost already open here. So inside the workflow trigger, you can basically click on that, and then this is going to determine what's going to start this particular workflow from happening. So if you come down here where it says, so here's opportunity status changed, and then we have pipeline stage changed. So if you want to go from, let's say application submitted to proposal sent, or whatever the thing is, so that's going to be a stage change, pipeline stage change. If we want to go from something happens because something is open, won, or lost, that's going to be opportunity status change. So you click on pipeline stage change, and now we have to tell the system, what pipeline it's in, so what opportunity it is, and then what stage is actually changing. So you have to put a couple filters in. So the first filter is going to be, it's in this pipeline. So let's say it's in new business. Okay, and then the next option is going to be what stage. Okay, so it's in new business, and it was now changed to proposal sent. Okay, so this category is so it's looking for, so let's say something is in it's in application submitted, and we moved it over to proposal sent. So that would trigger this action from happening. So that's what, so that would trigger an action. So in this case, so that's our trigger. So now I could say, based on that information, we want to send an email. We sent you a quote out. Whatever, whatever your follow up that you want to be. you can have that done from there. Or what you could do is you could say is in pipeline, and it's, maybe it's a new contact or something like that. So it's in new business, it's in new contact, and maybe you want to move it to a different stage. So like in that case, that would be create or update an opportunity. So that in that case, we have to first tell it that it's in that new business and whatever stage we want it to update it to. So in this case, we want it to go to proposal sent. So you can, so in this case, it's updating an opportunity. So it's going to recognize, so it has to recognize that there is an existing opportunity in that particular pipeline to begin with. So you can do that. And then the other scenario was about the status change. So that, this was opportunity status change. So this is going to be the case of same thing. We have to say, okay, it's in pipeline, or it's moved from, it's in the first, it's in the pipeline, and then it's, moved from won to lost, or from, whatever open to close, whatever, whatever the status that you're looking for, you have to just specify that information. And then lastly, the other type of trigger would be stale opportunities. So what's nice about stale opportunities is you could say, if something has been sitting in, so let's say it's in the pipeline, new business, whoops, and you want to add a filter to that, and it's been in there for 45 days. So if it's in that new business and it's in been there for 45 days, then maybe we want to remove it from the workflow, or whatever, maybe add it to a different workflow. So we can say, add it to whatever lost opportunities or something along those lines. So then that would automatically just push it to lost, basically, if it's sitting in there. So you can, and you can use this a couple of different ways. You can, first, if it's stale opportunities, maybe I want to send like an internal notification to somebody, on the system, in the agency, send an email to say, whoever the assigned user is, or a particular email address, and just check with prospect, whatever the subject is, and then you can use custom values here. So you could say, first name, whatever, this prospect has a stale opportunity, or whatever it is, whatever you want to say, and then save action. So then it'll send them an email, and then it'll push it to that other workflow at the same time. So totally up to you on how you want to do that. So that's kind of like different options within opportunities and pipelines. I can hope that I can open that up for questions of what you might have now, and we can use some of the rest of the time for questions. Sure. What's the question on the texting? You can ask it now, Elizabeth. I don't know if you're trying to type it, but you can ask it now. Oh, okay, here. So if you have an agent assigned to contact like a commercial account, and then there's a husband and wife, the agent isn't automatically Oh, okay. Oh, here, hold on. I'll unmute that for you. No worries. Yeah, you can unmute it now.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, if it's a long one, yeah, no worries.
So question, so when we have a new prospect in our pipeline and we're texting, let's say it's a commercial account, this just happened the other day, so this is why I'm wondering. We had the business partner, well, they were husband and wife, but so my name was listed as the agent on the main prospect, but then there's two different contacts for that one prospect. And so the wife was texting me, and we have it set up to automatically get an email notification when we receive a text.
Right.
But my name as the agent wasn't assigned to both contacts, only to the main account. So I thought that if whoever the agent is assigned on the main account would automatically get assigned to all the contacts. So we weren't receiving text messages from the contacts. Is there a way to fix that, or is that normal?
Yeah, so, well, one thing, it's not going to fix this from some of the ones in the past. So going forward, we're no longer going to put phone numbers on the contacts. So this will prevent this from happening in the future. So basically what happened is the system recognized the phone number on the contact being the same, as the one that was on the insured. As far as how do we fix that, it's really just making sure, I guess, we assign the same user to the contact.
Is that,
Yeah,
is that what it's doing for new prospects? Because obviously we started with Automate after
right.
we were already with NowCerts. So on this was an older client, by the way, too. So that's what I was just wondering, like,
Yeah, we talked about this because we had it with another agency that, that was sending out like lots of text because they're doing like a thing for like open enrollment or something like that. So whenever they would get replies back from it was picking it up on the contact. So we did change some of the logic. So the contacts will no longer get the phone number associated with them. As far as getting rid of that in the system, I think we can do some type of a workflow to remove some of those phone numbers from the contacts right now, so that doesn't continue to happen. But basically, the reason why it happens is because originally in our logic, when we sent the information from NowCerts, originally, in order to have a contact come over, it had to have either a phone number or an email address. So it was picking up that phone number off the primary contact, which, it causes a couple issues on some of these, when somebody replies back. So now going forward, like I said, we're not going to put the phone number on at all and only the email address, because the replies to the email aren't really impacted in the system, because it's really only from the texting that this happens to, because the emails themselves would go to your inbox anyways.
So sorry, Richard. So on a new prospect, so I have I'm looking at one of my pipelines. If there's two different phone numbers and two different people, can we toggle between phone numbers and decide who we want to text, or how are we going to decide? And when we get those textings back and forth for like a commercial account, how do we differentiate between the different phone numbers?
Yeah, so if you're saying the contact has a different phone number.
Well, like the business might have, one phone number, or there might be two cell phone numbers for the same client, or two different, managers or something.
Right. Yeah, because the system only allows for one phone number, per contact or whatever. So I believe if the contact in NowCerts has a different phone number, I believe we're sending that information. It's not going to fix that issue with the assigning the agent, but there might be a way to create a workflow to do that, to assign them. We could just use that as a trigger. I could see if that even exists as a trigger.
Well, maybe we could do a separate meeting. I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. That,
Let's okay.
that might be possible to do that. But yeah, it's definitely a good question. And I do know, from the head of high level, when I talked to him about something else, they are fixing something regarding this issue with related contacts. So this thing about, like, personal insureds and commercial insureds, there is a solution coming to that. It's probably, maybe closer to the third quarter that it's being addressed, but they are aware of it. So it's I've had several emails to him about it. So
Okay.
it
Well,
has.
I'll get on your calendar and we'll set up something else.
All right, sounds good. All right. Any other questions? If you have a specific question, or you can just ask me to unmute it, and doesn't have to be on opportunities. It could be really on any subject. Okay. Had the same issue this week. Owner called me to start a quote, and his wife is wanting all the same email. So as far as the emails, I don't think would be an issue to do. Oh, wait, you know what? Yeah, so as far as the emails with carbon copying, I do believe that's something that is coming very soon. They don't have that available yet, like in this section over here. So like when you click on send an email, that is something that they're going to add. It's not there yet, but that, like I said, that is something that many accounts have asked for this, to have that in, also a blind carbon copy. But the other question was about this being recorded. It is, yes. So I'll make sure you guys get a copy of this when we're done here. Yeah, no, I understand that. It's there's a limitation inside the system as far as how many places for email and that. What you could do is, if you want to, you could set up a specific, I apologize about that, it keeps opening up my phone system here. You could set up specific workflows, for your agency for that. So like inside the, so inside the builder, whatever, you can, set up a second email to go out, for that if you want. It's just like the issue is is it going to, a contact or whatever. That's where it would be hard to do that inside the builder. Do not disturb so it doesn't ring again. See, what it comes down to is, in the CRM, it doesn't take into account like, multiple people in the household. So it's like each thing is listed as a separate contact. So it's part of that's just a limitation of what we have to work with, as as changes are made to the system, certainly it could take this into account. Any other questions or anything? Yeah, like I said, I'll hang around here for about, about 5, 10 more minutes. If you have specific things, even if it's not related to any of the topics here, if you're having an issue with something, let me know. Happy to help you out. We have another one scheduled next week too. I don't have the topic in front of me, but yeah, we have, and I believe Ileana and Alexander will be doing another presentation on Monday as well.
Richard, hi, it's Elizabeth. I have another
Yeah,
question.
yeah, sure.
So if, is there a way to, like, whoever's logged into NowCerts, so like my assistant, if she texts somebody through Automate, and I know that, and she's logged in and she goes into Automate and texts, does the system know to send the reply email to her email since she's the one that's logged in versus the agent, or or is there a way to assign that?
I believe it. As long as it's assigned at the contact that she sent it to, or the insured or whatever, or the prospect or whatever, then it would get sent back to, the reply would come back to her, or it would come back to, how many Ring Central, or not Ring Central, how many Twilio numbers do you guys have in your account?
I don't think we have any.
Oh, so then how are you texting? Yeah, so it would go back to just whatever as far as the notification would go,
Yes,
then.
we only have you can only assign the agent, but she's assigned as the CSR on the account. So if she sends a text, is there a way to make sure that that response comes to her email since she's the one logged into NowCerts and she's the one that texted it? Or is it just going to always reply back to the agent's email who's assigned?
It would go back to the agent's email that was assigned. You could, like I said, so inside the notifications or whatever, I mean, you could do that to where with the internal notification.
How do I do
Okay.
that?
So you set up, like, you see, go to actions, you go to internal notification, and then you could send, this is what I do in my own agency, actually. So any reply that comes, to Automate, and this is any reply, is, so I send an SMS to my Ring Central number. So basically is, anytime I send a text out to the system, they reply back, it'll be copied in the system, but it also sends me, a message to my Ring Central number. So inside, so my phone will ding a couple different times. It'll ding for the app, the Automate app, that it's called Lead Connector. So you download Lead Connector for your phone. So I'll see the text on my phone for Lead Connector, but also it'll show up right here on my Ring Central. So I have it set up to display who sent it, their phone number, and what their message was. So this is my,
so I don't want to rely on that. And for E&O purposes, I want it all saved in either NowCerts or Automate.
so it is. So the message is still in here. I
Okay.
just get a notification over there.
But then when you respond, you just respond from inside Automate.
Correct.
Is there a way to do that via email instead of text?
Yeah.
Like notification?
Yep, right here.
Okay, and then how do I respond that back to my office manager?
So she would still have to respond via Automate.
No, that's fine, but how does
Yeah.
she get, and then we have it set up so that the agent's getting the email, but is there a way for whoever sent the text to get the email response instead of the assigned agent?
Well, I guess I wouldn't know. So like you can see, you could do it from assigned user as far as that goes, but you could have multiple internal notifications too set up.
No, but how does the system know, like if I'm sending a text to my client or my office manager is sending a text to the client, how does it know who to send the response email notification to?
It would only know, so it's only gonna, so when we send the internal notification, so if you just send a text in the system, it's just gonna put it in the conversations for that, for that particular person. So it'll just show up over here. It's as far as, who can see that, whoever has access to view that, that particular person.
I'm saying, like, I want to get, like, let's say the person responds 3 hours later and we don't have this conversations tab open.
Right.
for it, whoever sent the text message, whether it's the agent or a CSR or whoever, that whoever sent it gets the email notification that the client sent a text.
The only one you can specify is the actual assigned person.
Can you guys, I mean, maybe this is a support, or maybe this is a feature, but could we do it also for an assigned CSR? Because right now it's only the assigned agent. We don't want to take that away from the agent, but if there's an assigned CSR to that account, then maybe we could do both the agent and the CSR could get the email or get the email.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're asking for, and the answer to it is the request has been made, so they have features that come out literally like every day, sometimes twice a day. So I mean, it's one of those things that from what Sean told me, it's on their radar for next quarter, I believe. It's not, I mean, it's some of these things that, like, you know, I'm throwing out some of these timeframes or whatever. It's because I've literally had this conversation with him, you know, within the last couple of weeks. And one of them was multiple assigned agents. One of them, you know, was the other things, because, you know, these are the types of things that, you know, in the insurance industry we run into. It's not necessarily in every type of business that they use this program for that they necessarily run into this issue. But the as far as multiple assigned agents, that is something that that is being addressed. As far as the time frame, you know, within if it's not within the next 3 months, it should be something, you know, by the summertime that should be added. Just right now it's just one assigned agent, but, you know, certainly it will be available soon to have multiple assigned agents.
Okay.
And I'll keep on it with it, because it's definitely something that we all run into, because, yeah, it's, you know, you have a CSRs, or you have, you know, you might have 2 agents assigned to a policy. So it's, you know, certainly there's definitely a need for more than one.
Okay, thanks.
Let's see, going back to Jennifer had a question here. Is there a list of actions in the system that you can automate? I have half of the info. Yeah, so as far as the list, I don't have anything to print out. Suppose maybe I can you know, work on that to get you a list like that. So you go into,
That means don't send it.
so as far as like the actions or whatever, so this is pretty much everything you can automate. So the top is like, you know, your external communications, the email, text, you know, calls, voicemails. And then these are all adjustments within the CRM itself. So you can add or remove tags, create content opportunities, notes. So, but I can put together a list for you on that, because you know, certainly there's quite a bit on there. And then you know, these would be like your condition things, like if that, or the wait steps. But yeah, I can put that on there. You don't, you're creative, just like I said, just make it easier for you know, what we can automate and what we can't. So what I'll do is I'll copy down all this information as far as the actions go, and then also all the triggers that are available. They just added this trigger, by the way. So they have, I know contact created was added, and again, this note changed. So just so you guys are aware of this, so the system technically allows you to change a note. I basically overrode this in the system, because I couldn't believe you had the ability to change a note. So if you come over here to notes and you don't see an option to change it or delete it, that's because I put some code in there to basically hide that information. Now that we have the notes coming automatically to NowCerts, it's not really that big of a deal, because in NowCerts, these will be permanently saved anyways. but I just don't think it makes sense to be able to alter this information. So, that's why, that's why there's some, information in the system about notes changing. Very soon, we're gonna be, have, not only all notes, but, when, like I said, we have tasks. So when tasks change in here, that'll get updated in NowCerts too. So there's a couple things where just putting the finishing touches on, and that's one of the things is as a task changed. And then SMSs sent and received will also come over. Right now, the SMS received is coming over to NowCerts, but now the sent ones will come over soon too.
Okay.
That's just putting the finishing touches on that. Anything else? Any other questions? Yeah, appreciate everybody, jumping on board. Just holler if you need anything or email. And then, yeah, Elizabeth, if you want to get together later, because I think I wanted to ask you, Andrew, a couple questions
I have
also.
specific things to go over with you. So can you
Yeah.
email me real quick, just your calendar link again? I don't know if I have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. Okay, talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Thanks
Yep.
for joining, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.